And I said this, I believe that the number that she spoke to was somewhere in the region of $15 million. And I did so when clarifying that the project at the hospital was not in fact over budget, as was then being claimed by the opposition. Clearly, I too was incorrect because I said it was in the region of 15 million, depending, of course, on the numbers that Madam Hazel Brandy Williams had articulated at the time. These discrepancies were brought to our attention, and we asked the technical team to review the figures that have been provided. It was noted, and I think this is important, that the figures given to the Honorable Janelle Nisbet for purposes of a February 21st, 2023 presentation appeared to only represent funds paid to local contractors and did not include pre-construction expenses, consultations, etc. Efforts were made to retrieve the additional information. However, the data was deemed inaccessible due to the ransomware attack on the Nevis Island administration, which had taken place a few weeks earlier. The technical team therefore had to reconstruct the database on manual receipts dating back to 2016, when the preliminary work and the research started for this project. The task, I am advised, was extremely technical and time-consuming, and thus the process has only now been completed. I say that to explain the delay in coming back to the public, having given that assurance that we'd come back somewhere around the 22nd or 23rd of February. The full breakdown of all associated costs has now been done, and the total expenditure to date is $17,210,820.74. So the number to date is $17,210,820.74. And so that is the number that we have been able now to come to, having seen the mistakes that had been made and corrected the data and reconstructed the expense schedules based on the information available to us. I would want, of course, to thank the technical team for getting this right. I would also want to urge them that they ensure that information supplied to the public is at all times accurate. As a government, we pride ourselves on being open, we pride ourselves on being accurate, and as the Premier of Nevis, ultimately the buck stops with me, and so I take full responsibility for the inaccurate information that had been hitherto provided, and I have sought today to provide an explanation as to why it was inaccurate, and now to give you the information as it has been furnished to Minister Nisbet and passed on to me by her. And so I hope members of the press that would put that matter to rest. We, of course, will now continue with the hospital project and hope to restart the activity there in full measure very shortly. I should advise that as part of the development there, we recognize that we are now in the phase where we have to start to order some critical equipment for that hospital. And so we recognize that some of the, how should I call it, equipment, some of the necessary infrastructure, let me use that language, at the hospital, there are long lead times. So we are now putting in orders, for example, for elevators, things of that nature, which have to be constructed and shipped. And so we're doing a lot of that now. The physical construction, we expect, will resume very shortly, as we had some quantity surveying issues that were being sorted out. But this issue that had created, understandably, some public concern, I wanted to rectify that and apologize again wholeheartedly for the error, and to again explain how the error occurred and the fact that we've now sought to correct it. Two quick updates on the ORLA pier. We anticipate that the reception area, on which great progress is being made, that we should be seeing some completion of that within another few weeks. We also would want to advise that we will shortly embark on the construction of the parking lot at Whalley, having acquired some lands in the area from the Yarwood family. I would want to again thank the Yarwoods for agreeing to sell to the government some lands in the area so that we can update that facility. I would also want to use this opportunity to encourage the operators of the water taxis to ensure that they at all times behave professionally, they at all times give to their guests the experience that we are seeking to have here in Nevis and for which we have become world-renowned. I have learned that there have been some difficulties among operators as they compete for business, and I would urge them to find ways to cooperate with each other rather than being antagonistic to each other. Because at the end of the day, that facility and that investment, millions of dollars, has been done to facilitate them and their business, and to do so in a way that would encourage the very best practices and professionalism from them. And so I use this rostrum to encourage them to continue to do their very best. Let me report quickly on some good news, and that has to do with the call center at Brownhill. I'm advised that the larger building there are two sets of buildings. There's a large building, and then there are two smaller buildings. The larger building, the lease arrangements on that have been concluded. A company called Radius, R-A-D-I-U-S, has agreed to take that facility. I am told that they arrive on Nevis on about the 2nd of April, and that interviews and the like for individuals to work there will commence shortly thereafter. Of course, if there are people who are interested in work, many have been calling me already. It is not a government project. I am merely announcing that the government has been able to attract a private company to open this facility. And so I don't have details of the employment. Some people are asking me what they're looking for, who they want, can I put in a word for them, etc. I'm simply saying, please await the information. And when the information comes, do not sit back, but make your application if you want to be a part of the workforce there at this new call center operation. So that is the larger building that is there at Brownhill. And we all know that we had Brownhill Communications operating there for many years. And then one Friday afternoon, they abruptly ended their relationship with Nevis. We never actually understood why or why so sudden, but that is the nature of things. We have been trying since then to attract another operator, and while we had good success in the past in terms of people committing, we were badly delayed by COVID. And so here we are now on the other side of the COVID pandemic. We hope, looking at it fading in the rearview mirror, and we have an operator who is saying to us that they will start out potentially with about 50 workers, but their anticipation is to get up to 325. So that is the objective. We, however, have not been sleeping, and I am pleased to report that we have secured a commitment for a second facility, a second company operating in the smaller buildings, which is intended to be a smaller operation. So I am very happy to report this morning that if all goes well, we anticipate having two facilities, two companies, separate companies operating at that facility in the very near future. One at the larger facility, intending to scale up to 325 workers, one at the smaller facility, and they're telling me that they're going to start with smaller numbers, maybe 10 to 15, and hope to scale up to about 40. So we have two operators, and the second facility is telling me that they're not really a call center per se. They will be providing support for a medical team in the United States. For us, of course, it's about the jobs. And we have said that on this term, as we try to recover from COVID, we are all about job creation. And it is our anticipation to create several hundred jobs on the island as we move forward, as we seek to diversify the economy, as we seek to attract more foreign investment, as we seek to encourage more local businesses. We intend to attract more jobs, and that is what we are hoping to do. I have reported in the past on the job numbers for Nevis, and the job numbers have been encouraging. They have suggested that we have grown by about 6.2% as of December of last year. We expect that that growth is going to continue exponentially as we provide work for our people. And when I say our people, I am talking as well to our people on St. Kitts, because I'm sure that some of them may wish to apply for work over here, and of course they are welcome, just as we apply for work in St. Kitts and have been welcomed. So I encourage all who are interested to listen out, listen to the media, and to make themselves available to attend interviews and to seek to be a part of what we are trying to do here at Brownhill. You will see, if you visit there, that there are some folks working. I just want to say that what we're doing is remedial work, painting and sprucing up, so to speak, the premises, consistent with passing those premises to the new occupiers in a pristine state. Let me go quickly then to some other matters. The Ministry of Tourism has asked the public to save the date, they're saying. We're doing this awareness month dubbed Exposition Nevis. It will take place from April 30th to May 31st under the theme Tourism and Green Investments. Calendar of events will be released shortly, so you'll hear a lot more, but they will include the now famous Jessup's Seafood Fiesta in collaboration with the Department of Community Development and the Ministry of Agriculture and Tourism. That's Monday, 1st May. The Heritage Village Open Day, which has now become very popular, Friday, 5th May, the Bank of Nevis Tourism Youth Congress on the 18th of May, the Nevis Tourism Investment Forum on the 23rd of May, and the Exposition Nevis Festival at the MGR Park on the 20th of May. Also on the schedule, we have a Wine and Cheese Jazz Sunday at the MGR Park. That will be the 18th of June. Early bird tickets on sale for $100 EC. Wine and Cheese Jazz at the park. Sounds wonderful. Then we have the Nevis Mango Festival. That's Friday, June 30th to Sunday, 2nd July. And the St. Kitts and Nevis Restaurant Week, of course, which runs from 13th to 23rd of July. We're also very pleased to say that we have launched a new program on the tourism trail. Well, I should say we have reconvened it to create education and public awareness. And this program, hosted by Pamela Martin, brings tourism news and updates and also conducts in-depth interviews with key tourism stakeholders. The program airs on NNC, our local television station, every Monday at 8 p.m. on Flow TV 103, and is also available on YouTube channels of the Ministry of Tourism and the Nevis Tourism Authority. They're telling me to tell you that you should tune in because there are prize giveaways that you may be able to win when you participate by viewing that particular show. The Ministry of Agriculture is pleased to announce its big event this week at the ETW Park. The ETW Park, they tell me, is already transformed and ready for hosting of Agri-Expo 2023, and that will happen this week, Thursday and Friday, March 30th and 31st. We're inviting all to come and experience this major event. Everything related to agriculture will be in one place. Food, entertainment, education, friends, family, the works. We extend an invitation to our brothers and sisters from St. Kitts to come over for Agri-Expo 2023. The patron will be Colin Huggins, well-known farmer from Bath Village. They have a domino competition. They have a lot of entertainment. They're going to have core band, Odyssey band, Rec Life Movement, Grandmasters band, New Wave, Blackstone. This sounds like a music festival. They have technical demos, food demos, farmers market, kids zone, exotic zoo, food court, agro-processors, art and craft, ornamentals, cultural acts, live entertainment, and of course, I said, the domino competition. Promises to be huge, and I'm told that they have scores of people who are coming over from Statia As you know, we have a good relationship with agriculture in Statia, so they're coming over for that as well. Let me switch quickly to the Ministry of Education, Library Services, Information Technology, Youth and Sports. The school sports meets 2023, I'm told that those have now come to an end. I'm told that the final one might be today, one of the preschools. And most of them were hosted at the Mondo Track, so we're very happy for that. The Bank of Nevis Limited, Nevis High Schools Championship 2023, that was held under the patronage of Ellery Rivers and Miss Melissa Allen, both past athletes at the Gingerland Secondary School. That meet was held on 11th to 12th of March, and the Charleston Secondary School Lions were declared the winners with 55 gold medals. The Gingerland Secondary School Panthers performed commendably. They got 31 gold medals. We want to thank the Bank of Nevis Limited for their continued contribution towards the development of our people, particularly our student athletes. The TDC Inter-High School Championship meet, this would have occurred just over the past weekend. Our secondary school students close out their track and field season with that meet at the Kim Collins Stadium in St. Kitts. At the end of the meet, the Charleston Secondary School Lions placed second with 27 gold, 16 silver, and 15 bronze. The Gingerland Secondary School Panthers secured 4 gold, 8 silver, and 6 bronze medals and would have placed 6th overall. We want to commend the athletes, their coaches, teachers, parents, and all who were involved in their athletic development. Going quickly to Carifta, which, as you know, is a regional athletic championships. Congratulations to the Nevisions who were selected to be part of the 2023 Carifta team representing the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The 50th Carifta Games are scheduled for April 7th to 10th in Nassau, Bahamas. For the under 20 males, we congratulate Shamari Kamali Newton and Alexander Keynes. For under 20 females, we congratulate Tiana Liebert. Under 17 males, Kenron Freeman and Leon Thompson Jr. Under 17 females, Kalia Jones. Those are the divisions who are in this federal team to go to Nassau, Bahamas from April 7th to 10th for the Carifta Games, and we wish all of our athletes well. The Nevis Primary School sponsorship, I would have advised, will happen on Wednesday, the 5th of April. That's a half holiday. And this year, Gulf Insurance, which is the usual sponsor, has been joined by the Bank of Nevis International, which has come forward to join Gulf Insurance as the co-title sponsors. We are grateful, of course, to both institutions for their sponsorship. The meet this year will be held under the patronage of Miss Romancia Mills and Mr. Bernard Williams, who are past athletes of the St. James Primary School, and we will see participation from 9 primary schools in Nevis. We'll also, for the first time, see the inclusion of the weight throw using a cricket ball, which will involve students of grade 1 to 6. This is the first time we will see a field event being added to the Nevis Primary Schools Championship. The ministry also, important members of the press and members of the public. The ministry takes this opportunity to announce that the 2023 Gulf Insurance Limited Bank of Nevis International Inter-Primary Schools Championship will employ the medal count system to determine the winner. The medal count system dictates that at the end of the meet, the school with the most gold medals will be adjudged the winner. In the event of a tie in the number of gold medals for 2 schools, the silver medals will be considered to do the tiebreak. If there's still a tie in silver medals, then the bronze medals will be considered to determine the overall winner. So I want to stress that, because each year we know, like Culturama, one of the big things at the Inter-Primary is that there's always, it seems, some issue about the tallying of the results. Often we've heard one team win, and then we've had to hear, no, there was a mistake, and so another team. So they're getting rid of all of that and moving to the medal count. And so I want members of the public to understand that that is what the ministry has decided, no doubt after consultations. And the medal count is what I'm told is used internationally. So that is the standard that they're moving to. A press briefing will be held on the 3rd of April, at which point more details will be shared. The Department of Youth, they will celebrate a Youth Month in April 2023 under the theme Inspire to Aspire. And you'll hear more about that. The Youth Impact 12 Awardee, this is near and dear to me. The Youth Impact 12 Awardee for the month of March 2023 is none other than young Jalden Myers of Bath Village. He earns his award in the category of sports excellence. Jalden is a captain of the Bath United Football Club. He has played football locally, regionally, and hopes to be an international football star. The Ministry of Education and Sports, particularly Department of Youth, under the directorship of Miss Curtis Clark, extends heartiest congratulations to Jalden Myers, Youth Impact 12 Awardee for March 2023. I know Jalden well, very positive youngster. I think he's going to go very far, and I wish him all the best in his pursuits as a professional footballer. Members of the press and ladies and gentlemen, you would no doubt have seen the recent announcements that we are having some rationing of water. And I would use this opportunity to encourage our people once more to be prudent, sensible, frugal in their use of water. We like to say that water is the most precious resource, which it is, but oftentimes we don't treat it as such. So I'm encouraging our people, please, to be sensible in the use of water. If you're brushing your teeth, you don't have to have the pipe running for the whole time. If you're showering, you don't have to put the shower on for 20 minutes before you actually go into the shower. If you're washing dishes, you don't have to run the water for the entire period of time that you're washing dishes. We're asking you to lessen the number of times you clean your car. Try to avoid having to water the lawn and things of that nature. We're asking you to be prudent. Some argue that water is too cheap, and that is the reason why people don't pay too much attention to how much they use. I am hopeful, however, that our public will understand that water is a finite resource. It is a valuable resource, and we have to protect it. So the Water Department is experiencing some challenges, and we've implemented some rationing which started on the 14th of March. In recent weeks and months, we have seen some reduction in rainfall, and that has been coupled with a steady decline in the water levels of our aquifers. Now, why is that important? Because most of our water is coming from our aquifers. And the technocrats are telling us that the aquifers are not recharging quickly enough. Or, if you want to look at it in a different way, we are consuming water at a much higher rate than the aquifers can recharge. And so as a consequence, we've been forced to do some controls. To put it in context for you, in terms of our production, we are producing between 47 and 63 million gallons per month. So the production is quite high, but clearly it's being outstripped by the consumption. We have also been under some pressure because of the success that the island has been experiencing from the tourism arrivals and the tourism industry this year. Hotels such as the Four Seasons have reported very robust bookings, very robust occupancy levels, and they anticipate, they say, that that will go down until about July. So we are seeing a boom in terms of people coming back to the island, and that naturally puts additional pressure on our water resources. So we are asking again our people to please be prudent and sensible in their use and to conserve this most precious resource as much as possible. The Brownhill Village Basketball Court Road, I'm proud to say to the people of Brownhill that started on the 20th of March. We have installed approximately 1,200 feet of 4-inch mains, and this 4-inch main replaces a 2-inch main that currently served persons in the area. Customers will be connected shortly. Cohoons Estate, people of St. Thomas's, we have not and will not forget you. That project at Banjo's Road, they call it, where the man Banjo lives, that started on the 15th of March, 2023, with installation of 900 feet of new 2-inch pipeline ahead of planned road upgrade there. It includes the reconnecting of 18 customers and a new fire hydrant. Incidentally, we'll also be installing fire hydrants in Brownhill. The Bath Village Road commenced on the 13th of March We have now completed the installation of 4-inch mains up Bath Hill towards the police barracks from Bath Road. And we expect that work will continue apace. Insofar as the construction is concerned on Bath Road, that has restarted in full. Some ancillary works, such as concreting of driveways and side street tie-ins, were done during the month. Also during the time, works resumed on the section of the roadway from the Alberta Payne Community Center to Bellevue Road. Concrete curbs and swales are currently being laid. Additionally, utility pole relocations that has happened at the intersection of Bath Road and Bellevue Roads, those are expected to be completed shortly. The intent is to have the first section of Bath Road from the roundabout to the Alberta Payne Community Center and the section of Bellevue Road from the intersection to just shy of the Bath Hotel Gate completed by the end of April 2023. Very good news that the replacement parts for the asphalt plant heating system are now on island. We are aware that they were destroyed by fire and that had held us up in terms of some of the road works and road repairs. But they are now on island, and I'm very happy to say that we hope that they'll be installed shortly and the asphalt plant will be back up to full production. Work on the Butlers Road has also recommenced. Work will be focused on the reconfiguration of the intersection at the Butlers Health Center. The intersection will be widened to the adjacent lots to improve the turning maneuvers at that intersection. And we think that this will be a marked improvement for the people of Butlers. The Island Main Road project from Cliff Dwellers to Nisbet continues. Asphalting has been completed on the section of the roadway from Cliff Dwellers to Mount Nevis, except for the section at Hurricane Hill. Grading works are currently being carried out on that section of roadway between Nisbet's Settlement and Nisbet's Hotel. Major roadside cleaning has also been done on the road from Church Ground to Upper Hamilton. This was done primarily to better facilitate the collection of survey data for the design process. You would recall that this is one of the roads that we're committed to from Church Ground, coming into Church Ground and to Hamilton as an important bypass road, and so the people there would see some work there shortly. We continue to be very pleased at the progress being made in the construction sector. To give you some numbers, we have not slowed at all from last year. For the first quarter of 2023, the Planning Department has received some 99 applications for land division, subdivision, building applications, and various proposals, and that compared to some 97 received in the same period in 2022. We have also been trying to get the island ready for any eventuality in terms of any disaster. And the Nevis Disaster Management hosted a UNICEF-sponsored water, sanitation and hygiene and children climate disaster risk model workshop during the period 20 to 22nd March at the Disaster Management on Long Point Road. Mrs. Kayla Nanton participated in a similar workshop held in Dominica during the period 6 to 8 March 2023. Mrs. Nanton has been assigned as a focal point for Nevis data collection as a result of exposure in Dominica. We commend Mrs. Nanton and encourage her to do her very best. We also would have had some drills for a tsunami hazard campaign. The Nevis Disaster Management highlighted the tsunami hazard as part of its public awareness and education multi-hazards campaign for the month of March. And as part of the campaign, the department executed a mass evacuation exercise with over 2,500 persons on Thursday, the 23rd of March at 10 a.m. as part of the 12th annual Regional Carib Wave Tsunami Exercise. The exercise is important to validate and advance end-to-end tsunami preparedness across the Caribbean and adjacent regions. It provided us an opportunity to test operational lines of communication, tsunami response, and evacuation procedures, and evaluate our readiness in communities at risk on the island of Nevis. Let me report lastly on the Nevis Philatelic Bureau. It is charged with the production of postage stamps for Nevis. However, in recent times, there's been a reduction in the number of stamps produced due to changes in modes of communication. People now are, of course, using email, social media, etc. The Philatelic Bureau sought to counter that through their advertisements in Stamp magazine in England. Through this partnership, new customers, stamp collectors, are being gained. The arrangement has yielded revenue in the amount of $57,000 for the first quarter of 2023. So I commend the Philatelic Bureau for their innovation. Stamps now may not be used so much for letters, but they're still being collected by individuals. So we are looking at that. Let me now treat with the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health continues to expand its diagnostic services at the Alexandra Hospital. This government has made a commitment to enhance our healthcare capacity. And we are pleased to announce that a brand new PlanMed Clarity 3D digital mammography system, a mammogram machine, at a cost of US $234,585 is now here in Nevis, on site at the Alexandra Hospital, and will be commissioned for use shortly. Echocardiogram services, which is an ultrasound of the heart, is also now available at our radiology department. So you all would recall that we've introduced a CT scan. We are now introducing mammogram services, and we have also introduced the echocardiogram, which I'm told is an ultrasound of the heart. So all of those diagnostic tools are now being deployed for our benefit at the Alexandra Hospital. We'd also like to announce some changes to visiting hours. 2 visiting schedules will now be in place, effective from the 3rd of April. Visiting hours are from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., except on Tuesdays and Thursdays, on which days there are no visits allowed. Our public is asked to adhere to the dress code and ensure that they wear their mask when visiting the wards. That is part of the requirement. As we work disaster preparedness, emergency response, and the Ministry of Health, we are very pleased to announce that on Friday, the 10th of March, 2023, 25 individuals received their certificates having successfully completed a 3-week first responders training. Participants included staff from the police, the Defense Force, Alexandra Hospital, Four Seasons, and the chief facilitators were Nurse Roxanne Brooks from the St. Kitts and Nevis Red Cross and U.S. nurse paramedic Ann Hiley Gergel. Participants are now equipped to provide life-saving pre-hospital care in the community they serve, and we thank our partners, the Four Seasons Homeowners Foundation and the St. Kitts and Nevis Red Cross. Saturday, March 25th, saw the completion of the SKN Moves Nevis Chapter Half Island Road Relay. Why is that important? That is important because we continue to encourage our people to be healthy, to get up, get out, to exercise, to enjoy all the outdoor wonders that Nevis has to offer, to walk. If you can run, run. If you can walk, walk, but get active. So we're encouraging our people as we fight against NCDs, non-communicable diseases, and we recognize that most NCDs are lifestyle diseases. So if you like to eat a lot of the wrong things and you like to sit at home all day and watch television and don't get active, then that lends itself to obesity, lends itself to diabetes, it lends itself to hypertension. These are all gateway NCDs that can potentially lead to things like kidney failure, requiring dialysis and the like. And so we feel that through education and through encouraging our public, we can do much better. And so we are and continue to have these activities, which are intended to encourage members of the public to come out and be a part of things that are fun but also good for us. I'm told that we had 2 teams from the Defense Force. We had teams from Hospital, TDC, the Nisbet's family, the Dream Team, Grand Champs, and Eastman. The race started at 6 a.m. from Bricklin outside Dixbar and ended at the Fit Wellness Ground. Team Defense Force A emerges winners in a time of 58 minutes. Wow. Imagine they ran from Dixbar to Fit Wellness Center in 58 minutes. And they were followed by Grand Champs in a time of 1 hour, 5 minutes, and third place went to Defense Force Team B. So So the two Defence Force teams did remarkably well in 1 hour and 20 minutes. We congratulate them all, including our gold sponsor David Waldron of Fit Wellness Center, Sheldon Joseph of Concept, and Pemberton's Card and Gift Shop. Thanks to our partners, St. Kitts and Nevis Police Force, Nevis Red Cross, and Mr. Gary Wade. Shifting attention to International Women's Month, we would have celebrated the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with Women of Worth, hosted an I Am Visioning workshop under the theme Bringing Your Dream Life to Real Life. 60 women benefited from this workshop that was held at the Malcolm Guichard Recreational Park. The afternoon session was comprised of a Women Can plumber competition. 3 women were charged with the task to set up a sink with drain pipes and faucet. The winners were Miss Kishan Williams, first place, Ketania Bligen, second place, and Nelissa Pemberton, third place. And I must say to those women, congratulations, because I know I could not set up a sink with drain pipes and faucets. So clearly, they're doing a lot better. And I'm sure I speak for other men in this room who don't know how to set up a sink with drain pipes and faucets. So these women must be congratulated for doing an excellent job and taking their rightful place in various professions and vocations that were traditionally here considered to be for men. The department culminated the International Women Month of activities on Saturday, March 25th, with an award ceremony at Lynn's Deli. The theme was Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. The award ceremony recognized the following persons: in science, Dr. Kamara Louise; in digital economy, Diana Brown; blue economy, Melissa Allen; green economy, Kenesha Lewis; orange economy, Tamisha Lestrade; women in non-traditional roles, Kimberly Lazarus; and the Minister's Award was presented to Mrs. Deslyn Williams Johnson for work in protection and empowerment of women and family. And I'm told that my very dear friend, Yakira Elliott, was a guest speaker there, so I congratulate her as well. The ministry invites us to save the date of Friday, April 14th. The Health Promotion Unit, in collaboration with TDC Group of Companies and Taiwan ICDF, will host a health fair at the Long Stone Building parking lot in recognition of World Health Day 2023. There will be a wide array of health and wellness services to take advantage of, including the ability to sign up to be blood donors, to have HIV testing and other health screening. Mark that date, April 14th. It's going to be an important day. Let me switch now to our seniors. Our seniors division will be participating in the upcoming agricultural fair that I've already announced is happening on the 30th and 31st of March at the ETW Park. The recreational group members, with support from the seniors division staff, will be running a food booth. Funds will go towards seniors' activities which cannot be covered under the NIA recurrent funding. Put differently, the seniors will be providing you with food. And they have their own booth at the food fair, at the Agri Expo. And they're inviting you, of course, to be there and to purchase from them and support their activities. We had one intergenerational exchange activity, which was held with the Nevis Academy School, in which children were taught by our seniors how to catch coal pot fire and transfer the fire to additional coal pots. I hope those of us in the room remember how to do that. They also cooked dumplings and mackerel with the students. The Health Promotion Unit engaged seniors recently in health tips at recreational sessions, and the sports department did one exercise session with the seniors community groups. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very proud of our work with our seniors. We feel that we are leading the region in how we treat our seniors, how we interact with our seniors. And I commend all who have been so intricately involved with our seniors and doing such an excellent job. The first review of the Poverty Alleviation, or PAP program, approved percentage of beneficiaries for Nevis, has been completed. The review was necessary in order to remove participants who had registered with false information, who had double registered in some households, who had underreported their income, and working household members, etc. Put differently, some people were trying to defraud the system, and that was the reason for the review that was done. That review has now been completed. The director, deputy, and selected staff would have participated in online training discussion with colleagues at the Ministry of Social Development in St. Kitts to work out logistics for casework and monitoring of the just over 400 participants from Nevis currently on the program. A further internal training on casework and monitoring for this program has been planned for April 13th for the staff. Now, of importance, this is a federal program. The funding is provided from the federal government. And the federal government has now mandated that the program participants will be on for 6 months. After 6 months, there will be an evaluation to determine who stays on and who comes off. So I want people to understand that it is not intended to be a lifelong or lifetime commitment. It is intended to be 6 months at a time. That's my understanding. And we will be monitoring to casework, etc. Now, on the island of Nevis, what we have said as a government is we want to see these programs shrink. We want to see them get smaller over time. Why? Because we want to see more people employed. We want to generate sufficient activity in our economy that more and more of our people find gainful employment. So when I talk about call centers opening, I talk about not one but 2 call centers opening. I talk about geothermal. I talk about small businesses. We are encouraging our people to find employment. And we feel that once that is done, and we create the environment on the island where jobs are available, that we'll see the numbers of individuals requiring social assistance fall. That is the intention. Now, don't get me wrong. We understand that there will be some in our community who will require long-term assistance because of disability, because of difficulty of one form or another. We understand that all of us are not equally positioned in the community. And we, of course, pledge to have the safety nets in place for those individuals who genuinely are in need of such safety nets. Having said that, however, we encourage those who are able-bodied and able-minded to seek work. And we are creating in Nevis jobs, so that our people can go out and find gainful employment. That is the intention. Now, I will say on the issue of jobs that the government is full and bursting at the seams. There are some out there who feel that the only job that they should get is a government job. Where it is possible to find work in government, certainly we will try to facilitate. But please do not stay at home. Please do not tell your children to stay at home when there are jobs in the private sector that are available. Get out there, apply, put yourself in a position to ensure that you can benefit from the job creation that we are doing here on the island of Nevis. Please, I am asking, too many of our local born and bred divisions are home sitting down and saying they're waiting on government. People who are coming from elsewhere are grabbing the jobs as they become available, sometimes by the 2s and the 3s, while our people are sitting back and saying they're waiting on government. I am urging our people to take advantage of the opportunities that are available in their own country. Take advantage of the opportunities. Do not sit back. Do not tell me, as some like to say, me didn't know and me didn't hear. Put yourself in a position to know and to hear, because things are happening, and I want our people to take advantage of what is happening. So please, I understand that many want to work for government. Government is full and running over. In fact, we'll be shortly taking some steps to try and bring some rationalization to the government workers in terms of who's there and who we need, and some who naturally have reached an age now where we can ask them to move into retirement. So we are trying our best to manage what we have, bearing in mind that our recurrent expenditure is high in large measure because of our commitment to our government workers, where we have those on wages, those on salaries, those who are confirmed as members of the public service, and those who are what we call non-established workers. We have introduced 15% salary increase over the period of 3 years, of which 10% has already been paid. And we have on top of that introduced a benefits scheme for non-established workers. We are doing what we can for those who are already employed to government. We are urging those who are out there seeking work to look wherever they can find work, because we are also partnering with the private sector, attracting investors. You all remember one of the big criticisms politically of me and my government is that we said that there were investors out to sea waiting to come ashore. I don't recall ever saying that, but if I did, they are now coming ashore. And if they're coming ashore and they're opening businesses, I'm asking our people to make sure that they position themselves to benefit from what is happening. That is why I come here every month. That is why I go on radio as often as I can. That is why we issue press releases from the government. We're urging our people to take advantage of opportunities. And when our people start to tell me nothing happening for them, it bothers me, because I need them to take some responsibility and to take opportunity when it presents itself, to grab it with both hands. And so jobs are coming, jobs are being created, and I'm urging our people not to sit at home, say they're waiting on government or they applied last year to government, but rather to go out and find something. And to do that, I always say, find something. If it is that is not what you ultimately want to do, find it until you get what you want to do. But don't sit at home when there's work available. Please, I'm asking our people to make themselves available for the opportunities that are there. I will now take some questions from members of the press. I believe that I've given a lot of information, and so I'll take your questions if there are any for me.
Good morning to all, and good morning, Mr. Premier.
Good morning to you.
Shamika Bajin of Von Radio. Question 1. Do you have any further details on the bidding process for the drilling of the geothermal project, as the deadline was earlier this month? Mr. Premier, I'm happy to know that the pads have arrived for the asphalt plant, but can you provide an update on the Pinnis Bypass Road? I know that you mentioned previously that there are plans to redo the road, but can you provide an update? What are the stages thus far in terms of planning? And question 3, with the matter of a boat that entered our waters illegally a few weeks ago, it was confirmed that the Dominican captain was recently charged for illegal entry into the Federation. But what will be the fate of the remaining immigrants? Do you have an additional update on this matter? That's it from me for now. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Budgeon. Details you asked about the bidding on the geothermal, I did indicate in my opening remarks that we have extended the deadline to April 9th. It was March 9th. We've extended to April 9th as a consequence of what I'm told is the overwhelming response. We advise that there have been over 30 companies that have shown an interest in this project, and that many asked for more information or for clarification, and that on the bidding rules there was an obligation to provide that information, and so they extended the deadline to facilitate that process. My last report from NEVLEC, which is the entity that is guiding this process on Nevis, was that they had responded to over 100 inquiries for information. The Pinnis Bypass Road, you have raised that matter with me in the past, so I could only assume that your car is groaning on that road. All of our vehicles are. I should tell you that we are waiting for final bids on that road. We have asked a few companies to bid on the refurbishment of that road, just to indicate that Public Works is saying that the infrastructure there is good. So what we're seeking to do is simply to resurface. So we're not going to have a full road reconstruction as we're seeing, for example, on the Island Main Road. So what we expect to do there is to use this milling machine that we have invested in, which will take off the asphalt. The asphalt will be refurbished and put back on so that we improve the surface. But the condition of the road, I'm told, in terms of the load-bearing capacity and the compaction is still quite good. So we are hopeful that that will allow us to expend a little less than we would normally expend. But we're waiting for the final bids to be in on that. And once that happens, Ms. Budgeon, I'll give an update. But we are committed to having that road done. We recognize that it is necessary. The Dominican captain, you said, of the boat that landed illegally, I gather he has not only been charged, I'm told he's been convicted and sentenced to some time in prison. So he's currently in prison. The Haitian brothers and sisters who were on that boat, they were being housed in Nevis, and they have now been transferred to St. Kitts. I'm advised, last I heard was a court had granted an injunction restraining the government from repatriating them to Haiti until such time as the hearing of a matter brought on their behalf by their lawyers can be heard. So we await further developments on that, and the court will determine whether or not they can stay here. I have said right here in this press conference, I think on the last occasion, that I have concerns. I think that we all should be concerned, bearing in mind the sheer size of Haiti compared to the rest of us, particularly those of us in the Eastern Caribbean. We are micro-states. Haiti is almost 11 million people. Almost 11 million people. So if a fraction, I put it at 10%, if 10% out of almost 11 million, which will give us 1 million, certainly, let us use a round figure, 1 to 1.1 million people decide they're going to go on the move in the Caribbean because of the situation currently in Haiti, I think we'll have a humanitarian and security crisis in our region, particularly in these micro-states of the sub-region. And I continue to urge our people to imagine what it would look like if 5,000 or 10,000 Haitians were to arrive into Nevis. And 5,000 or 10,000 is a dot when you look at a population of 11 million. So Haiti is not a small country in the context as we would understand small. Haiti is a significant country with a significant number of people there. And the situation in Haiti, which has led to such instability, is of concern because that situation then has the potential to fuel refugees who are seeking to get out. And that is a matter of concern, I think, which the regional heads have already started to address at CARICOM. But we also call in the United States and Canada. I'm told that it was a matter that was discussed between President Biden and Prime Minister Trudeau in a recent visit by the US President to Canada. And so we see this as an important hemispheric concern. It's not just a Caribbean problem. It is a problem for us all. But for Nevis and for the Eastern Caribbean, I think the problem is acute. It is a near, or what they call it, clear and present danger, because it presents not only a humanitarian issue, but it also presents for us a security issue. We can be destabilized very easily if a few thousand of our brothers and sisters from Haiti decided that they wanted to be here. And that is why the decision that the court will take is going to be so important. Because if the court, for example, were to determine that Haitians arriving here, however they arrive, have a right to remain, then we can see the potential for more people deciding to take that route and to come to these islands on the basis of whatever interpretation the court may make as to the relevant CARICOM treaties and the like. So this is not a simple matter. I think it is a matter that really warrants our collective attention on this issue of what happens to our brothers and sisters from Haiti.
Good morning, Mr. Premier. L.K. Hewlett, Department of Information.
Good morning.
My question is, There's a saying that when your neighbor house on fire, make sure you wet your own. We've seen in St. Kitts an uptick in the homicides recently. Is the NIA concerned in any way, because it usually tends to spill over to Nevis or however that works, but it's a federation, so I guess, is it NIA concerned at all in terms of security, and is anything being done to beef up police presence and what's not in Nevis just to prevent similar actions? We also have questions from, you were so gracious as to allow members of the media from St. Kitts who couldn't be here and who sent their apologies to forward their questions, and I've been tasked with putting those forward. So we have Devon Cornelius from WinFM. He would have asked about the hospital expansion project and the discrepancy, and of course he would have answered that very clearly, so there's no need for me to ask that. But he was also asking, what are the NIA's plans for the creation of long-term and sustainable jobs? We have a question from, well, Mr. Bat. We have several questions from SKN Newsline. He says, very little is said at the federal level about the task force that is mandated to review the fair share of CBI funds. So A, what is the current situation on the work accomplished so far? And B, how much discussion is taking place between the NIA and that task force? Question 2. Some weeks ago, it was mentioned that the NIA will establish a specialized agency or department to promote and pursue the development of the film industry. Is it established as yet? And what will be its specific duties and authority? And is new legislation needed for this type of activity? Mr. Jermaine Abel would also have sent a question, and his related to the COVID vaccination effort. He says it seems that there's a lack of thrust in that regard, and what is the NIA's plans for future outbreaks, should there be any, in light of there seem to be no thrust for, as he said, for vaccination on the island. But he can only speak to Nevis. So that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hewlett. What you referred to as an uptick, to use your word, in homicides in St. Kitts is of grave concern to the Nevis Island administration. St. Kitts and Nevis is one country, and crime and insecurity in any part of that country is crime and insecurity in the whole of that country. We recognize, for example, that based on how close we are to each other and based on the ease of transportation, a friend of mine joked and said that one can even use a jet ski to get between St. Kitts and Nevis, and that is the truth. That we recognize that crime can occur in Bastia, and within under an hour, those individuals could be in Nevis and vice versa. That is why we have always advocated for a holistic approach in relation to crime fighting. And so your short answer is yes, we are concerned. We shall be engaging and continuing our engagements with the police on Nevis to seek to have them on alert, because we are also being advised that one of the situations sometimes is that those involved in activities, criminal activities, particularly violent crime on St. Kitts, they tend to come to Nevis to cool out. And so we are concerned about that heat being brought with them. But my heart goes out to all of those who have lost loved ones in this recent events in St. Kitts. And certainly I continue to encourage our public who have information to make that information available to our police. And I continue to encourage our police, the High Command and the rank and file, to do all that they can to prevent, and where they can prevent, to certainly detect and bring these criminals to justice. I continue to appeal to our people, particularly our young people, because one of the things that we see with violent crime in our country is that it is almost always young people who are either the perpetrators or the victims. And I continue to appeal to them and to say to them that there's nothing sweeter than life. There's nothing better than life. And they ought not to throw their lives away playing badman and gangster. Because at the end of the day, all it does, it brings grief, it brings despair to their families, their loved ones, and it brings terror to the wider community. I don't understand, and I have agonized over it for years, what it is our young people get from killing each other. What? There's a song I listened to the other day. There's an artist called Chronic. And he has a song, and I hope that I'm not misquoting. But Chronic has a song, reggae artist. And he talked about gunmen, and he said the one thing with all of them poor. And I want our people to think. Sometimes people say I'm too harsh and I'm too this and I'm too that. But I like to be real. Chronics has a song, it says all the gunmen them, he said, but all of them poor. So let me ask you, why are you going around with your gun and shooting at your brother or your sister and killing people? When at the end of the day, you're still seeing somebody down the road and saying, big man, beg you $50. What's the point of what it is you're doing? Is it that we're just wicked people? And that wickedness is an end in itself? Because what is the point? You have a little money, you're not taking care of your children, but you're trying to save up to buy a gun or to buy bullets for that gun. But your children going hungry. Your baby mother got you in magistrate's court because you're not paying child support, but you have a gun. What's the point? And I continue to say these things because I think we need to reach our people. I have spoken to a lot of youngsters who are allegedly involved in this type of activity, and they are not stupid people. Many of them are bright, capable, have their subjects from school, but they have embarked on this path of badness. And no matter how you tell them badness out of style, that the only place badness will get them is either in Springfield Cemetery, here in Nevis at the Britannic, or you go down to 1840 and spend the rest of your life down there. No matter how you talk, it seems it's not getting through. And some youngsters are involved in this, and frankly, some of their family members are enabling them too. Parents out there, you talk to them, not my son ain't it. You know your son bad. You know your son bad. You see your son with gun, but you're not my son, not my son. We require, just as we responded to COVID with an all-of-society approach, we require an all-of-society approach here. All of us must be engaged. If you see something, say something. Parents, if you got bad children, you know they're involved in bad things, you must be part of the solution, not cover for them, not hide the gun for them. And then know when the wickedness that is being perpetrated by your children comes home to you, you start to cry, wailing and gnashing of teeth. We have to start to have a real conversation about this. Because too many of us are encouraging foolishness. And that foolishness threatens to derail. You see where I started my press conference? Jobs, investors, people are coming in. Nothing can mash up a country as quickly as crime. Because once people feel unsafe, your tourism goes to naught, your businesses go to naught, people feel they got to close up early. We were on a path where many of us felt that we were turning the corner on this issue of violent crime. And all of a sudden we see this uptick. And so I'm encouraging, I'm pledging the support and the commitment of the NIA to the federal government. The federal government is charged with with national security and crime prevention. We understand that. But whatever support we can give, because it has to be all of us involved. And I want to warn divisions not to sit back and say, oh, another one gone in St. Kitts. Because crime knows no border, it knows no boundary, it knows no color, it knows no race, it knows no class, no sex, no creed. Crime is crime. And bullets can't see, and you never know where you might be when these criminals decide to act out against each other. And so I am encouraging all of society, including those elements who are involved in this activity, to cease and desist and to stop it. In my own experience here in Little Nevis, youngsters from my constituency looking for work, and when I tell them there's work available on this part of the island, they can't go because they got beef with people on this side of the island. Imagine that. You can't go out and work to support your family because you are beefing with somebody on some side, so you're afraid to go. That is not the community that we want. That's not the island and the country that we want. And so we need now to take stock before this unruly horse starts up again. We need to take stock, and we need to do what we need to do. Law enforcement need to do their job. The society needs to respond, and we all need in one voice to say, no, enough. This is not what we want for ourselves. And so I encourage our people to do the right thing, to call if they have information, and to assist our law enforcement, and for our parents, the girlfriends, the aunts, the relatives, the grandmother, the community leaders, the church leaders, to talk to these young people and talk to them in a way that they could understand. Not cuddle them, but in a way that they could understand that what they're doing is a path of destruction for themselves and for our beautiful country. It has to stop. Now, you asked me about the hospital expansion. I've explained that. Young Devon is asking about Mr. Cornelius, long-term sustainable jobs. I think I've laid out already this morning some job creation initiatives, 2 call centers we're looking at. We have some other initiatives that we hope that we'll be able to talk about in the not-too-distant future. We know that the hospitality sector now is doing well, so jobs are being created there, in the restaurants, and of course in the hotels. We're looking at geothermal. When the drilling starts later this year, that jobs will be created there. And then when the drilling is over, we hope to go to the construction of the plant and the like, and then long-term jobs in that new economy, which will be that green economy that we've been talking about for some time. So I hope that, again, our people will position themselves to benefit from these jobs, long-term and sustainable as we expect them to be. Mr. Bart has asked about a task force for CBI sharing. Mr. Bart, that task force has not met. It has not yet been constituted. We have submitted our members to that task force, 3 members. We have not yet had any indication from Bastia as to their membership, but it is a matter that I hope to be able to have a conversation with the Prime Minister on. Truth is, and in fairness to all concerned, is that Nevis was embroiled in elections in December of last year, and then embroiled in trying to get the budget done. And I would have spoken to the Honorable Prime Minister just a few days ago, and he lamented the fact that we had not found the time to meet as we had committed to. And that was in large measure due to the fact of Nevis's and my own and my government's own involvement in elections and then budget. Now that the elections are over, the cases I hope are over. Well, one has been appealed. The budget is over. Then we hope to get down to business in terms of some of these matters. So that is still in abeyance at this point. The framework for film, we have already passed legislation to set up licensing for those wanting to come in to do filming here. It was short form legislation. We may have to go back to create something more substantive, to create a framework. But in the interim, what we hope to do is to appoint someone and an office which will liaise. I can say that Nevis is getting more and more requests for information. Our name is now out there. And I'm having to field a lot of those requests personally. And so we want to have an agency where we can send individuals and say, listen, we are asking you to go there in relation to film. So a one-stop shop, so to speak, where they can get the best advice. And so we're working on that as we go. We anticipate that legislation will become necessary, but we're not quite there yet. So at this point, we're putting a framework in place where we have a go-to agency for film. Mr. Abel is asking about COVID vaccine. I myself have not had much of a conversation about COVID or the COVID vaccine lately. I am really, as I speak today, not sure if we have vaccines that are currently available. I know that there was a point when vaccines had run out or expired. My position in relation to vaccines is that we must, of course, be responsible and have them available at all times. But I also must hold our people accountable, because we were begging and beseeching our people to go and get vaccinated. I not only got 2, I went back and got my booster. We were encouraging people to do that. And many of our people refuse. That's the truth. Many of them refuse. Now when they have to travel to America or something now, they're running now and calling me every day and asking me, how come no vaccine is there? They need to go states and they need a vaccine. And you ask them, well, where were you all the time? When we were begging, we had to throw away vaccines because they expired on us. It comes back to our people being responsible. All of a sudden now they have a crisis, and the government, one of them called me and said, you can't get vaccine from somewhere, Antigua, somewhere, crisis. But they were here the whole time that we were encouraging people to get vaccinated, providing it for free. They didn't take it. Not saying it means that we shouldn't have vaccines, but to Mr. Abel, that has not been something that has been as high on the priority list as, of course, it was at the height of the pandemic. Our plans for future outbreaks, we are hopeful that with continued education, now that the lessons we have learned from this pandemic, that we won't have any future outbreaks, but if they were to come, that we will be better equipped in terms of how to handle it. The last global pandemic prior to COVID was 100 years. So I wouldn't mind if we have another 100 years before we have the next pandemic. I'd be very grateful if God is so good to us that we would not see that for another century. So that's where we are in relation to that. But I think we have learned valuable lessons. I think on balance, we handled both in St. Kitts and in Nevis the COVID pandemic extremely well. And that given the lessons learned, we can now move forward in a way that we can handle future outbreaks if in fact they were to happen. So that's the best I could tell Mr. Abel at this point. Are there any more questions for me?
Okay, Mr. Premier, just a few more questions. Can you provide an update on the resumption of the marina at the Natalius project at Tamarind Cove here on Nevis? Question 2, once the Asaras development in St. James is completed, will locals be employed there? And my third question, Mr. Premier, you mentioned a while ago that St. Kitts and Nevis is one federation. I'm not sure if you can comment on this matter. However, Von Radio has learned of a sailing vessel capsizing just south of Connery early this morning. We understand that the amount that was on board the vessel all have not been rescued. Can you shed some light on this new development? Thank you.
Ms. Budgeon, thank you very much. I'll start where you left off. I too have had just very, very fleeting reports of a vessel that has capsized. I confess that I did not have time to find out much before I came to this press conference, and I wouldn't want to speculate. So I don't have any new information that I can add. I would hope that as the day goes on, we would learn more. And I'm hopeful, of course, that all individuals on board would be rescued. So let us wait and see, but I don't have any new information. Apsaras Development, it is another significant investment in the St. James area, close to MUA, Medical University of the Americas. It was developed as what we call a technology park, where they were offering accommodation, office space, and of course the amenities such as restaurant, what else they have there? I think a gym, a library, and the like. They have since made an application to also be considered as a small hotel. They're saying that they have, for example, a niche where people are backpacking and that kind of thing and want, single room, single bedroom type accommodation. And the cabinet has said to them that that is something that we would look favorably upon. They want to put in additional infrastructure, swimming pool, restaurant, as I've mentioned, and something which I thought is interesting, a skating rink, which is bringing a new sort of amenity, if you will, to the island. So the idea there is young people involved in tech, a lot of these nomadic types, they say, because it doesn't matter now where they are, they can work from anywhere. That's who we're trying to attract with that development. They also have indicated, because we have asked them to get involved in our thrust for greater food security, food sovereignty, as we're now saying in Nevis, that they're going to be erecting some 12 shade houses on that property, and that of those 12 shade houses, from those 12 shade houses, they hope to produce over 300 tons of vegetables each year. And they're going to start with 12 with the capacity to add. And then the last phase of that project will be, I think it is 6 villas that they're also going to construct on individual lots in that development. So we are very excited about the level of investment that is made over there. And I've said a lot to you, and I haven't answered your question yet. You asked me, will local people be employed? Short answer is that local people are already employed. The construction is being done by Lefco Construction, which is a local company. And in fact, when we visited last week the cabinet to see what was going on and to see the progress. They have a whole social media team that is also all local, that we met there at work as they try to promote their development. It will be referred to this as Apsaras Calypso development, and we wish them all the very best in terms of that investment. We think it's a good investment for the island, and we look forward to more investors coming on board as well. The Marina at Nautilus, I do not have an update this morning. It's still morning. I do know that the last time I had conversations with Mr. Greg Hartman, who is one of the individuals involved with that project, he did indicate that they were to start very soon. I know that on the land side, they're doing some work, but I do not know if any work has yet started on the seaside. And so I'll endeavor to get that information to you, Ms. Budgeon, as to what's happening over there at the Nautilus. As you know, the government has said that it's an important project for the island because currently we're not getting the benefit of that yacht industry, that yachting industry. We think that with a marina there, that we can get yachts, attract them to come, and they bring, if you will, a different type of tourism to the island that we can benefit from. St. Kitts has the luxury mega yacht marina at Crystal Harbor, but we would like something here that is not that, but something smaller, but that can accommodate. You recognize, for example, that when yachts do come here, they have to anchor offshore. And so we are encouraged, and we think this is a good project, and we urge the owners, of course, to get on with it and have the project constructed, and so we can move forward. Any other questions for me? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for being here. Thank you to members of the press. And I hope that I've given you a few headlines today, things that you can possibly go back and report. But I think that the state of the economy and the state of Nevis is good and getting better. Thank you. God bless you. See you next month.